I guess what I'm trying to emphasize here is there's something fundamentally different about what's going on now versus.
I disagree. I mean, I knew that is what you were saying, but I mean, I feel it's necessary that I remind people of the civil rights movement and of the circumstances of the civil rights movement. I mean, churches were being bombed, and Ruby Bridges had to walk to school where white people were yelling racial slurs and coming to her with literally ropes around a black doll's neck to tell her that they wanted to hang her, and schools were being threatened with all of the very similarly. And so I disagree with this notion that woke fervor is somehow radically different from, say, the things that were happening during segregation in the Jim Crow South. I mean, I think it's just not objectively true. And you brought this point up earlier about history. I think we tend to forget how intense that was, and equally intense and philosophically undergirded the response to it, and it needed to be because of the intensity of the circumstances that many of the civil rights leaders found themselves in. But it was absolutely similar, if not worse, to everything you're describing.
But in this story where you reference Daryl Davis and his ability to go and talk to, but the Klan is in disarray and
sure.
It's in a weakened state. They have no strong tenets, and so it's very different.
So the stronger argument is the civil rights movement.
But then you mentioned this young woman who had all these white people screaming at her. Do you think she could have walked up to one of them and shook their hand and said, "We want to have a conversation"?
I don't think that the proper thing to do strategically is to try to go shake, like when people were protesting segregation in the Jim Crow South, they weren't going up to white supremacists to try to shake their hands.
No, I mean, like, if she went to a white rally, like a Klan rally, and they were saying, "Don't allow you to segregate." No,
because I'm saying that at that time, the circumstances were similar to what you're describing with Antifa. That's what I'm saying.
So,
and yet,
so we agree.
Yes, but you said it's very hard to persuade. You said it's very hard to persuade these kinds of people. But I'm saying the civil rights movement, the philosophy of the civil rights movement, understood that what was at bottom fundamentally of what these racist people were doing, was a vapid lack internally that they were projecting onto the other. And so the entire point of the nonviolent movement stemmed from this understanding that even as I protest you, I know that you are my brother and that you are my sister, and I'm not going to do you harm. That moved the culture fundamentally, not only because of the visuals of that, but because, again, the philosophy was deeply spiritually rooted. And so I'm saying that is precisely the kind of response that is required in these days and times.
We've had a few leftists on this show, and it's very difficult. For a few reasons.
Yeah.
It's not just about fundamental disagreements.
Yeah.
Some people just want to exploit the show and potentially cause it harm, and we watch out for that. So, like, we might book someone who will come on and then starts breaking all the rules on purpose and trying to get us banned.
Oh.
And I think...
that's wild.
Oh, yeah. There are people who have tried to exploit the show, and we're like, I know their game. We're not going to,
Yeah.
Because they don't like us. And I think the other is there's a fear of, I guess... excommunication, cancel culture.
Okay.
So there have been instances where people are like, look, I'd love to come on the show, but I just can't deal with that kind of heat.
Sure.
And other people have dealt with this too. Very prominent figures on YouTube in the culture war have their guests get harassed relentlessly for coming on, and it scares them away and they say, I can't do this. But we have had a few different leftists on the show who have been willing to come on, and we're absolutely. I thought they went very, very well.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can say we're friends, because I wouldn't impose that on them, but I thought we got along swimmingly.
Yeah.
And we've had Vosh, for instance, on the show a couple times, and Ian's a big fan.
I love him. Wait, are you saying he's a big fan of me? His name's Ian also.
Well, you're both fans.
Yeah, Ian's a big fan of Ian.
Yeah.
And so I've really enjoyed Vosh. Coming on. He's a socialist. He's very left. He was pro-Biden. A lot of things we disagree with. I think it's fair to say he's pro-CRT and all that stuff.
Okay.
And what happens is after the show, we're talking D&D and video games. And that's
always what happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, we're not I like you might notice we have this poster here back there. Shout out to Brent Lengel of Snow White Zombie Apocalypse. So we argue on Facebook all the time, and he's a lefty guy, and I'm like kind of, but I'm not authoritarian. I'm very libertarian, so like policy comes second to freedom to me. And you know, he put up a Kickstarter for this, and I was like, I thought it looked really cool. Yeah. I was like, I liked the art. I thought it was fantastic. So I was like, I'll pitch in for this Kickstarter, and I posted about it saying, look, me and this guy, we argue all the time, but I have no animosity or hard feelings towards him. I actually enjoy, having these discussions, and it's never. I think in this instance, we're not screaming at each other, insulting each other, because we're good people, and they're bad people on Twitter who just want to say nasty words. Yeah. But my point was like, if we focused on the things that we had more in common, maybe we'd actually better understand each other on the things we don't have in common. Absolutely. Or actually just learn how we can live together to get through these certain things. But I got to tell you, it's really, really challenging with a mainstream media apparatus that would say something like Joe Rogan took horse medicine. That kind of stuff. The example I always use, sorry audience for beating a dead horse. No pun intended. Democrats believe the economy is good. Independent voters and Republicans believe the economy is not good.
Oh, I saw you posted this.
It is objectively true the economy is not good. I suppose there's some metrics where you could like isolate one specific thing, like, well, the unemployment rate went down by 0.2%. Yes, but that doesn't make a good economy. When you have 500,000 below expectation jobs, how is it that Democratic voters think the economy is good right now? New York businesses are losing money because of the mandates that they're speaking about. They're complaining about it. Major shortages, price increases. It's just bad. I mean, we had record job openings, 10.1 million last month, and then we only filled 235,000 when they expected 800 or whatever. Like, we still have we have mass resignations. People are quitting their jobs, but people live in the matrix. You know what I mean? So that what makes it really, really difficult is when you try and even invite someone to come on. And they're like, I'm not going to go on a Nazi show or something because the media said bad words. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you got to take it all in stride. But how would you navigate? Like, so I agree with you on a lot of what you said, about, like meeting people as just a person, not for the sake of winning or persuading. But how do you navigate people who are constantly inundated by lies and deception to keep them away from you? You understand that you are not and cannot be omnipotent, and you cannot control everything, and you accept the good and the bad, and you roll with the punches. But what if you're trying to make sure, and you're like, I mean, look, it's I suppose I Stoicism. Agree, but it might be a bit pessimistic. Like, as if to say that I'm watching a building fall down knowing there's nothing I can do to stop it. You see, that's very interesting, because I do think that I'm pretty optimistic. And I know there are no guarantees with anything, but I do believe in culture. I actually believe in culture these days far more than I believe in politics. And I think that the culture is actually far more robust and gives us the space to have conversations with people with whom we disagree. And I think that maybe if you, in addition to, meeting people in order to get to know them and things like that, leaned into the culture more than the politics, I would be curious where that would get you in terms of how you perceive others and how others perceive you. I agree. So we have the Cast Castle vlog, which is it's the latest show that we launched. We've got a couple of the other shows we're launching. One's going to be like mysteries. Cool. We've done like recordings of it, and we're doing music and editing and stuff. It's going to be fun. Yeah. And the reason we started doing the vlog, there's two big reasons. One is like, man, the new stuff we do is so negative all the time. Yeah. I know, like Ian points it out. It's like all we do is highlight this bad stuff, and I'm like, we got to highlight fun, good stuff. Yeah. And so the vlog is like, we have baby chickens. Look how cute they are. They're growing up. They're getting big, and now they're looking goofy because they're in that puberty stage where they have some feathers but not looking. They look really weird. Yeah. And so the goal of the vlog is just to be like fun and inspirational. For sure. Building culture. That's dope. And I one of the complaints I have about the Republicans, because I think we used to have a uniparty. The Democrats and Republicans were like the same thing. Yeah. Then the right wing populists kind of busted in the Republican Party, but the Republicans still very much think the path towards victory is like appointing judges. Yeah. I think Trump supporters understand that's not the case. It's the cultural institutions that's going to shape the future. Okay. And what are the cultural institutions? The Apprentice. That was one of them. The Office. That's true. The Office. So TV shows. Oh, absolutely. For example. TV, film, and yeah. Colleges. Oof. Media. Yeah. Yeah. I was, I've been watching reruns of 30 Rock. You ever watch?
I literally
Just
just
started that one.
restarted watching 30 Rock. That
Is
is
it-
that is uncanny.
I just
It
watched
is-
the Alec Baldwin interview today.
Yeah.
Maybe Netflix just like recommended 30 Rock because
I was thinking about it for some reason. It's the first show I watched when I moved to New York. And so, yeah, I love that show. And
Is
it's a
it-
show that couldn't be made today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. You know what really was like a knife in the heart was when I'm watching, I think it's like the third episode, and Tina Fey, or no, maybe it's like I don't know what episode it is, but Jenna is doing a photo shoot for Maxim,
Yeah.
and there's like loud noise and a fan or whatever, and the guy interviewing her asks her about the war, and she says something, but you can't hear it, and he writes down, "I hate the troops."
Oh.
And so there's this big thing in a magazine saying that she hates the troops. And Tina Fey is like, or, you know, Liz Lemon, why did you say that? She goes,
Yeah.
I didn't say that. He misheard me. And there's protests. But anyway, she says, okay, you know, Jack Donaghy goes, we're putting you on hardball with Tucker Carlson and Chris Matthews to debate this.
So good.
And then Liz says something like, just say the war was started under false pretenses and it was horribly planned and that you respect the troops and don't blame them for this. And I was just like, man, where did that rhetoric go? Where was that left?
Yeah.
Obama, he came in saying he was going to fix it and then didn't, and a lot of it got left. The baggage got left in his garage.
I will just add to finish the joke because it was amazing. She calls Tucker Carlson very attractive, which is funny because they would never allow that.
Yeah.
They would never allow Tucker Carlson to appear
him.
and be called attractive. He was on MSNBC. And she says something that's really funny because it's 2007. She said, I think the government needs to hunt down Obama, and that's why I'm voting for Osama in 2008. And that's 30 Rock. You couldn't get away with any of that
It's
stuff
such
today.
a good show.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.